Alrighty guys, welcome to this next little video on, well, more x58 stuff, because evidently I'm obsessed or something. So, a friend of mine from high school contacted me, and she had said that she had just moved out of her mom's place and she wanted to get her own computer, primarily for doing office work and everyday tasks that she would actually want to have a computer for. She also had one more little side request. She wanted to be able to play League of Legends on it. Now, I am fully well aware that you can play League of Legends on integrated graphics on something like an i5 2400 or an i7 2600 with absolutely no problems. But I wouldn't be me if I just gave her something simple and basic. The criteria is that it had to be relatively inexpensive, which, kind of, and it had to be usable for a daily office computer work. So, I came up with this. Alright, so from what you can see with the B-roll shots, what we have here today is a EVGA x58 sli3 motherboard, the revision 1, mind you, a R9 390, base 390, but it has a back plate, and it looks really, really good. And then for CPU, I went with a 960, or an i7 960, with 12 gigs of Samsung B-die memory. So real good memory, relatively alright CPU, and yet again, a relatively decent GPU. Now, not the best graphics card that I could have paired with the system, but it's what I had on hand that I was able to get relatively cheaply that was not going to break the bank for her. And that was the whole goal, building a system that was not going to break the bank. Now, I know that there are some people who are going to be sitting there in the comment section asking, why did I not go with a 6-core in this system? I have no idea why, but this EVGA SLI3, now my EVGA SLI LE, which is pretty much the exact same motherboard with a few of the features kind of removed to make it a little bit cheaper, that one will support any 6-core I can throw into it. But the SLI3 revision 1.0 won't accept a 6-core. And I've seen people talking that theirs have no problem, even the same revision of the board has no problem accepting a 6-core. For some reason, mine doesn't. Well, what was mine doesn't. But I could drop in a quad-core i7 or a quad-core Xeon, and it literally would do whatever I wanted it to. So, I don't know why this particular motherboard wanted to be difficult, and I had updated it to the latest BIOS twice, and still, it just would not take the 6 core. But I digress. The system runs really, really well. Essentially, putting out some benchmarks here. I don't have a B-roll benchmark thing because it's really not all that important because of what the system is going to be used for. Destiny 2 runs at 65 FPS average. Dota 2, 110 FPS average. League of Legends, maxed out. I don't even know what the frame rate was on that because I didn't have the Steam frame rate counter. And I didn't bother to do an MSI benchmark. But it ran it, max settings, totally flat out, everything was what it needed to do. And as you can see, this computer literally looks like none other. That is kind of one of those things that I'm going to be talking about later down the line. The thing is, guys, and I mean this, you do not need to have an i9 9900KS with an RTX 2080 Ti to be able to rationalize doing a full custom PC build. This thing, first gen quad-core i7 with a graphics card that is equivalent to the RX 480, RX 570. This system that I built is not going to break any records. It's not going to set the standard for computer parts moving forward for the next 10 years, obviously. But this was something that I built, I customized, I fully custom painted, and the look on her face when I delivered it to her was priceless. Simply because I knew how excited she was going to be to have something as nice and as custom as this. Now, back to my original point, is that you guys can do this too. The fact of the matter is, doing this kind of hardware modification, it's not hard. Nor is it really dangerous as long as you do it correctly. As long as you have a little bit of confidence in what you're doing and a little bit of competency when it comes to actually doing it, you can get really, really good results. This system... excuse me. This system does have a few minor drawbacks. Primarily in the realm of some of the paint got chipped because I kind of did not wait long enough, which is totally on me. And the cooling for it is a little bit lackluster because it's an NZXT H510. By the way, speaking of that case, some of you may have noticed the dent in the top of the case. That is how I bought it. The reason I was able to get an H510 for $50 was because it was slightly damaged the first time it had been shipped out. So whoever sold it to me, or whatever company sold it to me as a slightly damaged product. But the internal components or the internal layout is totally fine and totally good. Power supply mounted up just fine with the normal mounting positions. Beyond the dent in the top of the case, which for someone like me, for someone like my friend, oh boo-hoo, that's a really freaking nice case with one little problem. Whatever. I can accept that. She can accept that. And there's no problem with that. At least for us. But, sorry, I digress. Again, back to my original point. Looking at this kind of a case, looking at this kind of computer, looking at this kind of a build, this is something that you guys can achieve with very minimal hardware, with some time, some patience, and some spray paint. Heck, you don't even need to use spray paint. You could literally use, like, wall paint. If you had wall paint from painting a room that you feel like using on this, you could do that. Now, I'm going to start doing some tutorials on how to actually do all of this stuff. So please stay tuned. Stay tuned to my channel. I'm sorry that my upload schedule has actually been very, very bad. Primarily because I've been working 6 to 7 days a week, working at the nursing home, simply because they do not have enough help, and I have just been brunting as much workload as I possibly can. Actually, today and tomorrow are my first 2 days off, or 2 days off in a row that I've had in 3 weeks. So, as I say again, I'm sorry about that, but please stay tuned. Tutorials are coming. full custom build is coming, and I think the first PC that we're actually going to be working with is mine. Dun dun dun! Alright, see you guys later.